somebody, that was it.
Twice, Edmond, you've said, and I'll turn it over to Karnik. I don't have a question. I'm just I'm going to cue.
Okay.
And here's my cue to Karnik. Twice in your response, you referred to the phrase national unity. You sacrificed yourself for national unity, and I applaud you for that, because you did. But we have what we have as a result of your sacrifice, and I dare say maybe there isn't street protests today, but there is a revolution in parliament as a result of your exit. And do we have a national unity, given the Armenia-Turkey discourse that is underway, Artsakh-Armenia relations, and with that, Karnik?
Well, I think that's a great place to start. I think that Edmond, your point is well taken in terms of removing the turmoil from the streets and putting it into political discourse inside Parliament. But I dare say that the crisis is not over. Maybe the crisis on the streets is over, but I think anybody observing Armenia today in the present geopolitical context would say that Armenia is in a very dire crisis right now. And I wanted to, given your experience in many European and international structures, I wanted to ask you about, what is the way out of the crisis? Is there a way out of the crisis that you feel that the government is trekking towards? And in that question, quite frankly, I have a number of little sub questions, and I'm going to ask one of them now. What is the policy of the current government vis-a-vis Europe, which you have a lot of experience with, and Russia? There was always a game played by Armenian governments. Today, we're in a very peculiar situation where Armenia has been has a security issue that relies heavily on Russia, but yet is courting a lot of European money, European influence. What is your understanding of the political or geopolitical game going on internationally with the present government right now, and how do you see that panning out over the next year or so?
So, as I understand, based on my relations and my interaction with different diplomats, with different, with colleagues from different countries, diplomats and representatives of parties, their view regarding Armenia is this. So Armenia is a democracy, and we, after that big crisis and devastating war, we hold elections, parliamentary elections, and we get out from that elections in a very democratic way. So even that opposition, which was not during the first days after the election, was not recognizing like the results of the elections. They went to the Constitutional Court. They used constitutional channel, and then they accepted the decision of the Constitutional Court, and now they are in the parliament and they work together. Whatever we say, whatever happens there, they work together. So when you look at the Armenian parliament from outside, you can understand that the opposition accepted the results, accepted the will of the people. If you look at the Georgian case, in Georgia, what is happening there? Opposition didn't take mandates after elections, which again were held for the resolving of the crisis in Georgia. So if you are a monitoring committee member from the PASE, you will look at it and you will realize, you will compare the Georgian parliament with the Armenian parliament, you realize that, okay, in Georgia there is crisis still because the opposition didn't take mandates and they didn't recognize the results of the elections. In Armenia, the crisis solved, and they view us as a small democracy, which has many, many challenges, but with the government, which is announcing their ambition for regional peace, for not peace in Armenia, peace with our neighbors, a regional peace. that we say that we since we have many problems with our two neighbors, let's say, and we want to solve these problems, and we pursue for this peace, and our government, our leadership got support from international society. Everybody is willing to help. I mean, international institutions, United Nations, European Union, OSCE, World Bank, IMF, Western countries, everybody is happy to help Armenia to solve our challenges, our problems with our neighbors, in order to have long-lasting peace in South Caucasus, which is when I pronounce this, I mean, I have difficulty in that because it's a dream. The long-lasting peace in South Caucasus, but there's a statement about it made by the Prime Minister. So if you look at Armenian leadership from outside, you will get this. So that's why United States is willing to help. European Union, France, I mean, with Armenia-Turkey relations, OSCE, other international actors, Russian Federation also, the first meeting was in Moscow. Regarding Azerbaijani, rhetoric, which is not peaceful rhetoric, we work to get condemnation. Also, we get different kind of statements. There are statements that they say you are equal. They say both sides must not use this kind of rhetoric. We say that we didn't use. They just used it. Both sides, must be, calm, borderline. Let's say. I mean, and I always criticize them because of this. But there is a big understanding that they must find the way out from this situation, these countries, these both neighbors, and finally open all communications between each other, and to start in a level, find a level to work together. I don't know what kind of level we can have with Azerbaijan, but for the Turkey, it's much more real right now than with Azerbaijan. So your question was very long. I mean, and I have a very long answer. If I missed anything, just to remind me.
No. I think that I wanted to dig on the question of national unity on these points, actually, when it comes to.
Sorry.
Yeah.
For that, we don't have national unity, and we will not have. I mean, in terms of Armenian-Turkish relations, in terms of Nagorno-Karabakh final status, in terms of relations about, this demarcation issue, delimitation issue with Azerbaijan, there is no national unity in that kind of issues, and I don't think that we will have, because every party, every historian, every scientist, every citizen, let's say, can have their own view about it. But the ruling party gets the main responsibility to take the responsibility and to solve these problems. Of course, there are issues that we are against, there are issues that other parties are against. There is no national unity in that kind of issues. But those are the problems that will not allow Armenia to go forward. Armenia and Artsakh, when I say Armenia, both to go forward. That's why we must find ways to solve it.
Yeah, you said that
For instance, I can bring one example. For instance, regarding Armenia-Turkish relations, right now what is happening, I support. So there is a unity from my side. I support these talks or negotiations, whatever we say. We got invoice from Armenia and from Turkish side for negotiating and having ties with Turkey, opening borders, and having diplomatic ties, I support these negotiations without any precondition, which is very important, without any precondition. And I support it without any precondition. I mean, the Turkish negotiations in 2008. At that time, I was not a member of the parliament. I was not in politics. I was a human rights defender, but I support it as a citizen. Right now, I support it. But there are many, many issues, internal, foreign relations, that we have different views and different visions about it.
I want to let you go.
No. I was going to comment that I saw the eyebrows go up. So it's you're biting at the chomping at the bit.
But I'm going to give you a little bit of a tough love. Now, obviously, when we talk about Armenia-Turkey relations, I hope, and I'm confident that you, at least personally, do not ignore the in the equation the 7 or 8 million Armenians in the diaspora. You see us in the diaspora, with the exception of those who joined us in the diaspora after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Armenians of Armenia who came and joined us in different parts of the world.
Sure.
Those of us in the diaspora are descendants of the Armenian genocide.
Sure.
We have been raised with horrific first-hand accounts of our grandparents, some of their parents, but certainly my grandparents and my great-grandparents, first-hand accounts. So I applaud you when you say, and you said this, as to Artsakh, Artsakhe գայացած կորձոն է եւ անվտանգային իրավիճակը պահպանվում է ռուս խաղաղապահների միջոցով։ Ավելի վտանգավոր է հայ-թուրքական բանակցություններ չունենալը, չգարկավորելը, and I get that. Հիմա էլի եմ աչակցում գարկավորմանը, որովհետև չգարկավորումը բերելու է նոր անհավիրքներ. And you just said no preconditions. You support it with no preconditions. But come on, Edmond, you are one of the brightest people I've encountered, and I've encountered quite a few people. Do you really think that in any negotiation, we start from a point zero, but we are sooner or later going to have conditions? We're going to say, I want this. The other one is going to say, I want that. And do you not think that the government of Republic of Armenia owes a duty to the Armenian nation, the global Armenian nation, to at a minimum, whether it's through its Spirki Hanstagatar, Baron Zares Iranian, formerly of Glendale, California, or through the prime minister, or through the foreign ministry, engage and consult the diasporan concerns. Now, in 2008, when you talk about, you were not in parliament and you were involved in human rights, and the president then, was it 2008? I think it was Serge Sarkisian, yes. He tried, and I remember the protocols. I met with the president of the Republic of Armenia at the time here in Los Angeles as part of a large diasporan delegation. This is a very sensitive issue. This is a very sensitive issue. At the end of the day, I understand that, we are surrounded by Azerbaijan, we are surrounded by Turkey, two very hostile nations, in my opinion. We're surrounded by Iran and Georgia. I'll call them lukewarm, if you ask me, and I'm not a political scientist by any means. But what is your vision? I appreciate that you support the government in its endeavors, but don't you think that there ought to be, as the Europolitical Party leader, you consult your constituents. Well, who are the constituents of the Republic of Armenia? The 3 million residents of Armenia, or the 11 million Armenians of the globe? What are your thoughts about this?
Thank you for the question. It's a good question. I myself ready to consult with diaspora people, and right now we are consulting We are exchanging our views about Armenian-Turkish relations. I'm ready to do that, in any platform. Visiting different cities and states, overseas, and meeting with diaspora people. And I do so. I had many meetings outside. And I think the Armenian government, the Prime Minister, Mr. Rubinian, as you said, Zare Sinanyan, Foreign Minister Arat Mirzoyan, and they are also must, I think, to consult with the diaspora people regarding this sensitive issue. And I agree that it is a sensitive issue. It is a sensitive issue for all of us. My ancestors are from Kars. It's a sensitive issue for me as well. But I said that not regulating our relations with Turkey will bring more problems than regulating the relations. And I said that if we succeeded in 2008, during Serge Sargsyan's time when he was, negotiating, then we will not have this kind of war. And even if we will have a war, the Turkey will not have this kind of role engaged in that role, in that war. So, and as for the preconditions, so in an official level, first time, there is a statement of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, both sides, ministries of both sides, Turkey and Armenia, that stated that we are negotiating without preconditions. It's a statement, and that word is used in that statement. I was very happy after that, after the meeting when it was released. So of course we can talk about that. Yeah, they said, but there must be, and there are some. Of course we can say. Of course, from Turkish side, they will say that, okay, Armenia has also preconditions. They say without preconditions, but Armenian side, Republic of Armenia, and if not Republic of Armenia, Armenian diaspora, of course, they have preconditions and stuff like that. But my vision is this: if we can come up with a decision to have ties with Turkey, to open borders, and to have diplomatic ties in a first level, embassies, and to start talking between each other, that will be a big step forward, a big step forward. As for the Armenian genocide issue, nobody puts aside, nobody forgets the genocide. There are, articles, critics, and there are rumors, blah blah blah, whatsoever. But it's not true. I mean, nobody put aside, nobody, betrayed. Let's say the genocide issue, and the Armenian genocide. This is first time. This is first time that we are in a negotiation with Turkey in a situation that 3 permanent members of the UN Security Council recognized Armenian genocide. This is the first time that United States, France, and Russia already recognized, and we are in a negotiations with Turkey. Before, we didn't have this. So that's why, let's talk, let's continue. Of course, let's work with diaspora. And I am willing, and I will lobby in a government, using my ties in Armenian government, to start and to find platforms to talk with diaspora. But we must, go forward. We must go forward. We must regulate our relations. Otherwise, I will restate. We will get much more problems than we had before. And on the other hand, I think for Armenian people here in Armenia and in diaspora, we must have new agenda. We must have new agenda, and the new agenda is not about the issues that we have and we had, before. The new agenda is about our economy. The new agenda is about our GDP. The new agenda is about our military budget. Let's think together what to do to double our GDP. Let's think together what to do to double our budget. Let's think together what to do to double our military budget. You know, when our GDP is considerably lower than Azerbaijani GDP, when you go back for 10 years and you look at our military budget, our military expenditure and military expenditure of Azerbaijan, what will you think about it? So those are the questions that we must think about it. So those are the questions that I think must become the priority for Armenian government, for Armenian diaspora. Because if we are not solving these issues, then what we can do? I mean, what kind of historical or current issue we can solve? What we are talking about? Let's put all emotions aside and look at digits. Look at what is happening here. We are now not a state of 3 million people. We are a state in 2 million and about 900,000 million. You know, and our neighbors, you know, they are developing, they are growing, they have GDP 48 billion GDP. You know, Azerbaijan. I mean, we spent in 2020 we spent 634 million in military expenditure. They spent 2.2 billion. What we want to do? I mean, what we want to do? What we are thinking about this issue.
Edmond, you know, with Karnik's permission, this may be the very last question I ask you in this program, because I know I've hogged quite a bit of time here. But you know, let's talk about new issues. You know, I understand. You know, the genocide is a 107-year-old issue come April this year. But what about Artsakh? I mean, the Republic of Turkey destroyed and was a catalyst in destroying human lives, peaceful civilians, and countries, and caused a displacement not unlike what occurred in the genocide. You know, we had so many people, you know, homeless as a result of their tacit support. Now we're going to engage in discourse because we want to have peace, and I appreciate that you said a couple of days ago that to avoid new wars, we need to figure out our relationships politically and geopolitically, and also we need to engage in what you called reforms within the Armenian army so that we make it stronger. But you know what? Edmond, you know, you've been to Artsakh, I've been to Artsakh many, many times. There's people living there. And now we are sitting across the table with the very same people that just turned their lives upside down, not to mention the mayhem and murder that they caused. I asked you before when, you know, in a few days back when we were chatting, you and I, you know, from long distance, let's talk about Armenia-Artsakh relations. Where does Armenia-Artsakh relations fit into this Armenia-Turkey discourse? Do you see where it fits in there? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot and say, well, if you were Rubinian representing Armenia in dialogue, would you consider saying, what about Artsakh? I mean, is Turkey now going to say, recognize territorial integrity of Azerbaijan sooner or later, which is going to just swallow up Artsakh? What's going to happen? I'm not the politician. I have a lot of respect for you, so get me out of this.
Garo, thank you.
Quandary.
Thank you.
Sure.
Whatever you said, I totally agree, and I endorse whatever you said. But we must do this for the sake of the people who live here in Armenia and Artsakh. We must do this for the sake of our children. Because if we talk about destruction, killing the people, genocide, and if we go, you know, further, then of course we can also realize that our enemies are capable to destroy whole Armenia at all. They are capable to do that. I mean, look at their armies, look at their capabilities. So what we want to do, we want to save and develop this Armenia with Artsakh, or we want to go down and down and down and lose everything, whatever we have now. We had 42,000 kilometers together with Artsakh. Because of our immature policies, we lost it. And if we continue not understanding the realities, not understanding our capabilities, not realizing where we live, in what kind of hostile region we live, not realizing our challenges, may we lose the rest that we have. It's a question which is a very difficult one. If you look at our history, we had this kind of issues. We end up with these kind of situations. We disagree and we lose the situation that we could agree and have at that time. We disagree, we lose the situation that we could have something at that time. And we got this very small Armenia because of that. And then there is a big challenge that if the people of Armenia will realize that there is no future peace in this country, will they live in this country? As I said, this is not a 3 million. This is not a 3 million country. As for the Artsakh issue, of course, this issue may arise. But as I said, for this, right now for this issue, for Armenia-Turkey negotiations, we have statements right now that both sides, there is, stated that we started and we are talking, we are negotiating without preconditions. There are many actors in the region, Carl, believe me, many actors that they don't want to have, successful, that they don't want to see successful negotiations between us.
I agree.
We will get many obstacles. Azerbaijan will create many obstacles. But I believe that Turkey has its own national interests. Azerbaijan has its own national interests. And of course, Turkey is defending Azerbaijan, but in their own national interests stands this issue that they must solve the issue with, diplomatic ties and opening borders. This is in Turkish national interests as well. We will have many obstacles during the negotiations, and it's not easy. The borders will not be open tomorrow. The embassies will not be open tomorrow. This is a big issue and very hard and sensitive, as you said. But we must go forward. And as for Artsakh, the status of Nagorno-Karabakh is not yet resolved. Our position is this, that OSCE Minsk group must continue working on the status of Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan does everything to not allow OSCE Minsk group to work, to come to the region, to visit Nagorno-Karabakh. They do everything, to not allow. This. Armenian state totally supports the people who lives in Nagorno-Karabakh with budget, with whatever we can. I will not go forward and tell what. So we do our best, but we are in a very difficult situation. We must get out from this situation. We must start think about our GDP. We must start think about our budget. If not, then this Armenia is in danger. And this is the only statute that, as you said, 11 million Armenians, you said, 11 million Armenians have this only statute. And we all must care about this. This is the only statute that we have. I'm a recognized statute. Thank you. Karnik, I'm sorry, I'm just...
No, that's okay. I wanted to just jump in here on a couple of things. I think that there's a problem in terms of the, if there's talk of a precondition, I think that the precondition that I'm most concerned about is our own understanding of what the pillars of our national identity are. I think this is where we struggle. This is where we struggle. And I have to say, the talk of the GDP, you mentioned we have to focus on, right after the war, I keep having flashbacks to the report. I can't remember the organization that did the study, the poll, but the issue of Artsakh was on the bottom of the list, and the issue of economics was on the top of the list. Now I understand what the voters are thinking about from an economic standpoint. I get it. Everybody wants to put food on the table and have a prosperous life. I understand that. But there's something that we're missing, and that is, I think, no Armenian left behind, no Armenian forgotten. This is where I think that we struggle as a nation, because until it comes to Sunni, until it comes to Yerevan, there's always going to be this, well, you know what, I don't feel it on my skin, so therefore it's not an issue. The issue of, in the Artsakh war, the issue of ethnic cleansing was front and center. Now hearing some of the discourse is almost like having whiplash. I felt as if we were all on the same page, understanding that our survival as an Armenian nation had certain kind of core elements, right? It had the independence and self-determination of the Artsakh Armenians as one of its core. And I have to say, I think most people were, at least observers, were shocked to find that the voters don't think that. The voters didn't think that, right? I mean, that was what the poll showed, that there were a lot of other issues that were much more important for the Armenian voter than these issues, which I think have some sort of national cohesion. If we believe that the future of the Armenians of Artsakh is less important than, let's say, economic GDP. I understand the idea of strengthening a state. I understand that. I'm not saying, but these things are not necessarily mutually exclusive, because what it is an understanding. It's a psychological approach to who you are as a nation. If we believe that that everything is negotiable for GDP, or negotiable for building high-tech industries, at some point we've diluted our understanding of national identity to the point where we are no longer, when I say we, the state is no longer in service of the nation. This is why.
Danik, I'm sorry. I think I misunderstood. No, the issue of Artsakh was never in the last place. The issue of security was never in the last place.
Not for you.
Not for you.
No. For the people as well. I disagree. For the people as well. I totally disagree. Armenian citizens here, they give soldiers for 30 years. Mm-hmm. And we cannot say that the issue of Artsakh was not in the first place, or security. But what I'm arguing is this. If we are not concentrating on the strengthening of our statehood, then how we can secure the people of Artsakh from Azerbaijan? How we can give them security? How we can defend them from Azerbaijan? If we have this military budget, I said 634 million we spent in 2020, they spent 2.2 billion. Mm-hmm. So emotions, these national things are very good, are fine, but we lost the war. We lost the war to technologies. We lost the war to population, because they are 10 million, we are about 3 million. They have billions, we don't have that billions. We lost the war for that. We didn't lose the war that we are not patriotic. We didn't lose the war that we are not united against our enemies. No. Let me be clear. We lost the war because we didn't develop our country. We lost the war that we had because we had wrong narratives during 30 years. We lost the war because we lost the diplomacy, because of our wrong narratives. I can go on and on. But my argument was this: if we are not becoming smarter, if we are not going to have more children, if we are not going to have more, GDP quality and results, then what we are going to talk about? What will say people living in Artsakh? What will say our diplomats who have one ambassador and one diplomat? Our embassies is 1+. 1, 2 plus. How you're going to do that diplomacy? With these poor embassies, with these poor channels, with these poor platforms, how you are gonna, defend your national interests? I mean, whatever you say, I mean, you need resources. I'm talking about resources. It's human resources, economical resources, new technologies. Look at our budget, how much money we spent on science. Look, go 10 years back. Go 10 years back, how much money we spent on science. Turkey created Bayraktar. What created Armenia? I mean, it's because, we all are patriots. I believe that we all are patriots. We all, love our motherland, our state, our nation, our identity. Those are very, very important things. But I want to just take all the people of all Armenian people to down, stand on our land and think about this land, like from emotions, from these high things, visionary stuff, just to see what we have, to just diagnose what happened with us, just diagnose our situation, and then let's find ways. Because as I understand, I misunderstood. I mean, this is not about that. Having food is important than our nation. No, it's not about it. Or having jobs it's important. No, but what we must do to keep our people in our villages. Do you know that we have villages that we have integrate one guy, one children going to the school? I mean, what we must do to keep our people in our villages, in our cities, in our country. There's a big migration, and that was before, that is now, that was since independence of Armenia. We are losing people. We are losing people all the time. And how we are going to keep this state? That's why I said that we need new narratives, and this new narratives is about our science, economy, demography, how to solve these issues, our military, then we can think about other things. If not, then nothing will happen. Let's be, very, very realistic. If we are not restoring our economy, if we are not restoring our army, our diplomacy, I lobby all the time for proactive diplomacy. Proactive diplomacy. We never had. We wait for any resolution against us, and then we react. and nothing happens. I mean, we can't do anything against it. So because we are so we were so poor and so weak. How you can do that? Or believing that somebody will come and help us, waiting for somebody, this country or that country, I don't want to name, during the war, after the war, till now, there are rumors, many rumors, that we were proposed with this kind of help, we denied. We were proposed with this kind of help, we were denied. It's a lie, total lie. We were not proposed with any kind of help from anyone. It's a total lie. We were not proposed with anything. There is no any condemnation about this 44 days war, about these mass killings. That was a genocide. Is there any condemnation from any Western institution, any Western country? Till now, our hostages, prisoners of war in Azeri prisons, tortured and killed. Till now, they're there. Who cares? I mean, we must be very realistic. I'm just about it, and that's why my hope and my vision is this: we are uniting with, defending with this vision. If not, then I don't see how we can get out from this situation. Or can we be united in doubling our GDP? I mean, who is against it? Let's be united. I understand that we cannot be united in the issue of Armenia-Turkish relations.
Mhm.
We cannot be united. I mean, in diaspora and even here, many people do think that it's a bad idea. Let's keep our borders closed. Let's not have any diplomatic relations. I mean, we have parties, we have people, but there are issues that we can be united. GDP, budget, science, development.
But I do want to ask on this, is there a unity on the Artsakh situation? Is there a unified goal for Artsakh within the government, within the people? Are we going to see that? No.
No, and we doesn't have before. There were lobby in Armenia that we must recognize Artsakh Republic. You remember, there was a lobby. There was another lobby that it's not time. We are in negotiations. Then there was an opinion that when the war will start, because one day it will start, at that time we will recognize. Then the war started. On September 27, I had a speech in the parliament and I proposed to recognize Artsakh. There's a video in YouTube. That's why I said, there is no unity. I mean, this is a democratic country and every party, every citizen has its own vision what to do, what we must do. There is no really vision about it. There is just one vision, that we want a peace. And the ruling party, with this statement, got 54% votes during elections 6 months ago. That's the only thing that I can tell you. But there are different, movements in Armenia, different movements. So that's why I think we must concentrate on issues that we can unite everyone.
I want to, you mentioned about we're a democratic country in Armenia. It made me remember, I'm curious, what are your thoughts about this individual, Haik Mamidjanian, voting against the vote in Europe about Armenia being a democratically run functioning of democratic institutions, and I guess his or his supporters' explanation is that he viewed that vote to be a resolution which he labeled it pro-Nikol versus pro-Armenia. I'm astonished. Can you give me any insight about that, Edmond?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as a former delegate to the PASE, and having high positions in that institution, it's not an issue that come up now. Mm-hmm. I criticized them that why you are not attending to the meetings in PASE, because opposition in the parliament, when they came, they said we will not go to any visit, any state visit or any delegation visit with the ruling party civil contract. And they started to boycott. They boycotted sessions. When you boycott, you cannot propose your proposals. You cannot work with the monitoring people from the monitoring committee to tell them that, for instance, we have this issue in our democratic institutions. Then you must write about it there. If they work hard, they will get it in the resolution, and they could vote for that. But they didn't work. They boycotted it. So, and the monitoring guys, they wrote what they knew. They wrote what they had on their plate. Later on, they said, since you didn't see these problems that we have in Armenia, in our democracy, so we are against it. But my argument is this. There is a provision about Nagorno-Karabakh, that Nagorno-Karabakh issue must be resolved under the auspices of the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairmanship. That, Azerbaijan was against it. Turkey was against it. They worked very hard to take down that provision from the resolution. So there is a provision about our prisoners of war that Azerbaijan must return them. So only for that, I think he must vote for, not against. Even he could abstain, but not against. That's my opinion. I was opposition there. But when I see that there are issues that prevail, on my internal stuff or my internal political taste, then statehood must be valued. Your issues which is important for you. And they showed with this step that for them it's much more important to let's say hit the ruling party than to defend the provisions that I already said. So that's it. But it's, again, you're right, it's democracy. It was his right to vote, and he voted against, and it was his decision, his party's decision, and that's okay. And the people who are criticizing him, they have right to criticize, and it's also okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for what really has been a very lively discussion, and I appreciate very much your frankness and the scope of issues that you covered today. We do appreciate it very much, and your insights on those points are very much appreciated. I think we want to, I think, Garo was going to say a couple of last words, but I wanted to give you an opportunity, Edmond, to say any closing thoughts that you might have to our viewers. I know we covered a lot of subjects, but if there is any subject that you feel that you'd like to make a point of, please do so.
I just remembered my speech in Minneapolis in 2010, when I was studying in the University of Minnesota Law School. So I remember when we had a gathering in Armenian church, St. Sahag Armenian Church in Minneapolis, in St. Paul, Twin Cities. And we had gathering on April 24th, Genocide Day. And the whole of the church was full of Armenian diaspora people. And I had a speech. I said, my dear friends, compatriots, my message is this. Armenia has many challenges, and this is the only statehood that Armenian people have. We, with Artsakh, have 42,000 kilometers. It's a very big deal after 700 years of having no statehood. It's a dream for our ancestors. But now we have it. Let's concentrate on this Armenian. Let's use all our resources. Let's identify us with this Armenian. And let's develop this Armenian. Otherwise, this is a hostile neighborhood, hostile region. We will have challenges, and we cannot stand alone against these challenges. That was 12 years ago. I was a fellow in the University of Minnesota Law School. And my vision, I didn't change it. It's the same. Again, of course, after this devastating war, we lost 4,000 lives. We lost thousands of kilometers. But still, we can stand up. Still, we can stand up and go forward. And if we are united, and if we take the reality as it is, and make necessary steps to develop this statehood, then we will win. That's my vision, and I believe in it. And I call on all our diaspora friends to to be united on this kind of issues that we talk now. Thank you so much, and I'm available always to talk with you. It was a lovely discussion, and I hope we'll have much more, platforms and opportunities to even meet in person and talk about these issues. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Edmond. And Garo, any final words?
Yes, I have a few final words. First, let me thank Edmond. Edmond, you're always a gentleman and a scholar in my book. We may not always agree, but we certainly are polite enough with one another to agree to disagree. And we agree more often than we do disagree. I want to thank you. I really want to thank you. I didn't get around to ask you, so I'm going to take another 1 minute. If you can give me a short response, and I'll give my closing remarks
Sure.
after. What's in the future for Édmond Marúkyan and the Bright Armenia Party? What are you guys up to?
Well, the party, is active in different fields. We run the School of Liberal Politics. We work with young generation. We try to change our environment where we live to be understandable, because we end up in a situation that we were not understood by the people. And we are here. We will serve our country, our statehood, and Édmond Marúkyan as well. I'm much more now engaged in foreign relations, using our ALDE platforms, raising our voices, in different European conferences and platforms, and to defend Armenian national interests. Also, I do strategic litigations in European Court of Human Rights, and now we are working on war crimes as well, regarding the Azerbaijani aggression, and also with about the rights of the people of Hadrut and Shushi, who lost their properties there as well.
Tarnik only works 20 hours a day, so you can contact him for the other 4 hours
Yeah.
a day. He's an excellent international lawyer. I can attest to it. He can provide you all the assistance you need. There you go. I'm sticking you with more stuff to do, Karnik. Go ahead.
Just one thing, I will continue my service to Armenia and to our nation. In what capacity, I think doesn't matter.
That is why I applaud you, Edmond, because from the supporting of the snap elections, which landed you on the outside looking in, and from the outside continuing to do that which, in my opinion, unfortunately, some on the inside are not doing, is worthy of recognition. So I thank you for that. And as for my closing remarks, gentlemen, and fellow audience members, if you will, I want to give a shout out to the young Armenian generation and a couple of young men, Zaven and Van of Zartonk Media, an independent global media company powered by innovative technology that scales quality, answering the always changing needs of modern Armenian audiences. Their dedication, in my opinion, their passion, in my opinion, and drive makes Zartonk Media a keystone of modern Armenian media, becoming the diaspora's fast #1 Armenian media platform, wide and far in many corners of the world. It continues to be the home for all things Armenian. I saw my dear brother and friend Karnik featured there on an upcoming ICJ-related discussion he will have on February 17. In just 3 years, these young Armenian forward-thinking folks have garnered hundreds of thousands of followers. And why am I saying all of this with a smile and a joy in my heart? Because they've decided in their infinite wisdom, and it's pretty wise, I think, to have Frontlines premiere with a special edition on Thursday, and thereafter every Tuesday, on Zartunk Media's platforms, from Facebook to YouTube and Instagram. And we are going to have a special edition on Thursday, following up on many of the same topics we discussed with our guest and friend Edmon Marukyan at the moment, with none other than Member of Parliament of Republic of Turkey, Garo Paylan. Garo Paylan's, one of the recent quotes is what I want to close with and ask that we all think about that. Garo Paylan said one of Hrant Dink's biggest dreams was the opening of the Armenian border, the border gate, if you will. And he said, the day it opens, I will go there. Garo Paylan said, let's hope that together we can make this dream of Hrant Dink come true. As Armenians and Turks, or Turkians, in the translation of Google, if you will, we will suffer at that border together. Now, I don't know what he meant. I intend on asking Garo Paylan about what he believes he means by that. He said, I also have a dream. If we open the Armenian-Turkey border gate and name that border gate Hrant Dink, an Armenian from Turkey, I hope we will make this happen, and we as the people of Armenia and Turkey make peace. That's a tall order for me. It's a very big, tall order for me. It's all about perspective, I suppose, and it's all about feelings. And if there are ever two things that are neither right or wrong, they are perspective and they are feelings. Feelings are feelings. They're not right, they're not wrong. And perspectives are often the byproduct of feelings and life experiences. So let's hope that while we perhaps hail from different perspectives and different life experiences, and therefore we might espouse different feelings, and keeping in mind the call of Édmon Marúkyan that, we have to keep our feelings in check, and I think we should, but we must never ignore our feelings. Our feelings do play a role. Let us hope that our feelings do not play a negative role and keep us from realizing that which some among us apparently believe, and I hope they are right, that peace with Turkey is good for Armenia, for Artsakh, and for Armenians. And let us all, as Armenians, as Artsaksis, and as disciples and loyal citizens of Armenia, whether we live there or not, espouse for peace for the Armenian nation. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. And thank you, Edmond, for being part of us. As always, we'll be in touch again soon.
Thank you, Garo and Garnik. Thank you so much. More mugs.